In this video cheat sheet, we're going to be defining some VPNs or some virtual private networks on our network. We're going to start off with some baseline show commands of show IP VRF, VPNA, which is going to be the VRF that we're going to create, and then also show IP VRF interfaces, and show run interface to, well, I'll show you why a little bit later on. We're not going to do any debug commands in this video cheat sheet. We'll then define some VRFs or some VPNs, and then we'll finish up with some show commands of show IP VRF, VPNA, and VRF interfaces. We're going to be configuring these VRFs on router 2 and router 6. So let's go ahead and get started. Over here on router 2, I'm going to do our 3 commands that we just got finished talking about. And the show IP VRF VPNA command basically came back with, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, we haven't configured it yet. If I do a show IP VRF interfaces, I have all the columns, but since we haven't configured one yet, there's nothing there. And I do a show run interface because I want to get this IP address right here, because when you configure a VRF on an interface, it removes the IP address from the global route table and puts it in the specific VRF table, so it actually removes this address. So I highly recommend you would do this anytime you add a VRF to the interface, because you need to know what the IP address is along with the subnet. So this is how you configure a VRF. You do IP VRF and global configuration and then give it a name. We're calling it VPNA. I'm then going to give it a route descriptor of 2.2.2.2:2 to signify that it is coming from router 2, and then I'm going to export my VPN v4 addresses that I advertise out with a route target of 2.2.2.2:2, and I'm going to import into my VRF from BGP VPN v4 routes a 6.6.6.6:6, which means this is coming from router 6. I'm then going to go onto the interface and create a VRF on the interface, so that this interface is now associated with this VRF, and then I have to put in the IP address of the interface, because once again, when you put in this VRF forwarding, it pulls the IP address out of the global route table and puts it into the VRF specific table. All these commands will be gone into in greater detail in the configuration guide. But that is what we're trying to accomplish. We're going to create the VRF, and then we're going to put the VRF on an interface. And see right here it says interface IP address blah has been removed due to enabling, and so you have to put it back. That's why you had to do this command here at first to get the interface address and the IP address and subnet mask. Alright, so let's go ahead and go on over here and do this on router 6 as well. Alright, so that's been done on router 6. So let's go back over to router 2 and let's do our show IP VRF VPN and the show IP VRF interfaces, which we didn't get anything last time, but we should definitely get something this time. Alright, so when I do a show IP VRF VPNA, I get my name, I get the route distinguisher that I configured, and I get the interface associated with that VRF, which is what we configured earlier. And on the show IP VRF interfaces, once again, here's the interface, here's the IP address associated with the interface, there's the VPN that's associated with the interface, and it's up. So let's go out over to R6 real quick and make sure that the exact same thing happened over there, which I'm willing to bet that it did. And as we can see, it has. So that is how you define or create a VRF on a router. You configure the VRF, you configure a route distinguisher, you have to export and import different route targets to be able to import and export your prefixes from your VRF to another VRF someplace else. And then don't forget that when you put a VRF on an interface, that it's going to remove the IP address, so you have to put it back. So that's how you configure a VRF on your network.